I really want to kind of set the stage for all the panel of experts we're going to have coming behind myself that really are going to double click into these great new areas where we've taken our company, what's been driving some of these changes, and how the software as we deliver to our customers has really just completely been evolving over time to kind of meet the new needs of IT, the new needs of the marketplace, and more importantly, focusing on where we're all going into 2025 and beyond, and what that's going to mean to be successful. So really excited to kind of give you this quick overview and really set the stage where we're going to double click going forward. So some of the interesting things that we have been seeing in IT, and I don't think any of this is probably much of a surprise to most of us, but there's really been about 5 seismic shifts that have been converging across IT over the last 18 to 24 months. The advent of multi-cloud, and of course, the idea of what cloud native really means, starting to refactor and even re-architect applications for this new cloud-driven world. Something even that we've seen out of the pandemic with large organizations, small organizations, really organizations of all sizes, realizing that it's time to really start thinking about how to transform how we're running IT and make sure that cloud is a really core part of what that strategy is. And of course, behind that is all the automation that has to come in play in order to make this a successful strategy. Because we all know all the different tools, different locations, whether it be on premises, different silos of storage and infrastructure, it can be challenging to manage all of that, especially when you have a whole new crew of DevOps teams that are coming and driving new application modernization. And of course, then the economics for what it takes to manage all of this. These 5 sort of seismic shifts, as we've seen them, have really been driving a completely new change and a set of new challenge within IT. And of course, those challenges have kind of been exacerbated from data fragmentation across those different silos and locations, really knowing what you have and where you have it, the management complexity that comes out of trying to manage these different solutions. And then, of course, ultimately, do we have the right people? Do we have the right skills across our people to ensure that we can manage what these new solutions, the new era of IT really looks like? And with all these new ideas, these new silos, these new capabilities, comes the concern of being locked in. What if I decide I want to change a vendor or change a infrastructure vendor or a cloud vendor? How do I do that? All the while, of course, being able to deliver upon the compliance recovery readiness that your organization requires. These shifts are driving new data management challenges, new data challenges, new infrastructure challenges. And it's forcing all of us, especially in the time of this pandemic, to really kind of rethink what do we want to do tomorrow, as well as today, to get ourselves set up to where we need to be in about that 12 to 18-month time frame so that we can help the business move forward into this new era of digital transformation. Now, some interesting stats about how this is really making an impact inside of our own environment. Based off of a multi-cloud survey, 93% of enterprises are stating that they have that multi-cloud strategy. So look around. Chances are, if any of your peers that you have that might be watching this, anyone that might be on the actual panel, there's some form of a multi-cloud strategy that we're all probably working through with most of the customers and vendors alike to help enterprises really succeed in what this next infrastructure is going to look like. And of course, data security is top of mind. I really love this stat. It actually came from an IBM research that in Q2 of 2020, there was a 300% increase of ransomware attacks over the same time, of basically over the same quarter, or Q1 of that same year. 300%. That's a huge increase. And we continue to hear lots of interesting stories of how sort of the bad actors are trying to come after customer data. And it's really starting to change the idea of what security, new infrastructure, and of course, how to ensure that you're providing that sort of recovery readiness to combat this form of ransomware and the sort of the malware attacks that are occurring across the industry. So a really interesting stat, probably something that, again, just reinforces it's not if you're going to get struck by ransomware, but when, and making sure you have the right strategy. And of course, everything is becoming software defined. About 4 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe it would have been a little bit longer than that. Obviously, there was the statement that software is basically consuming the world or eating the world. And that's absolutely the case as we're seeing these new infrastructures change as data grows, as we look at how we need to scale more horizontally as well as vertically. Software definition is becoming a really key component for these new infrastructures. In fact, by 2024, 50% of the storage that will be deployed globally will be deployed as software-defined storage. So even that technology is going to continue to take off. And then we come to probably one of our favorite buzzwords, and being Kubernetes and containers. And I think this is something that really the pandemic and this more cloud native shift has really been accelerating. We've been seeing a lot of technology acceleration in this space, and that's by 2020. By 2022, 75% of global enterprises will be running containerized applications in production. Now take all of these changes, all of these stats, and realize at the same time data is growing at a very, just a phenomenal rate. By 2025, we expect to have close to 180 zettabytes, much of which that growth is going to be in unstructured data. And we all know that unstructured data can become one of the major pain points in trying to manage information, and also can be a major risk point in managing information across your enterprise. So in order to handle all of these new challenges, in order to meet these new seismic shifts, and to not be consumed by the stats of ransomware and multi-cloud and getting lost in the complexity, IT needs intelligent data management in order to kind of shift and rethink how you can set the proper data structure to start to work across any infrastructure. And it all starts with a solid data foundation, something we've been incredibly focused on here at Commvault. Provide the data awareness, the data agility, and the data automation for that multi-cloud world to ensure that no matter where you're storing information, no matter where you need to move it, how you're developing, that we're giving you the insights, the ability to transform and move, and the automation to make the data services themselves, from storing information and data to protecting it, optimizing it, and ultimately using it, and making it all come together as one solution. That's what our view of intelligent data management is, enabling those services through a single namespace, a single foundation or platform that starts to really open up the ways that you can think about using data, optimizing your environments, while ensuring you're meeting those SLAs from a protection perspective, all while storing it in the right location. So what are some examples of how we're doing this, how the new Commvault is kind of taking action? Well, first, let's think about data awareness in action. We've already been working with customers across our data, their entire data estate as it stands today, to help them truly optimize what their data footprint looks like. And what that really means is providing some business context, identifying information where it lives, whether it's been utilized, whether it is maybe trivial data, whether it is maybe something that doesn't need to be stored, or something that maybe provides risk back to the organization. We're tracking and able to crawl through that actual data landscape and optimize the footprint, understand where risk might lie, leverage things like artificial intelligence and machine learning to really start to pick out the different data sets that might be sensitive, that you might want to handle differently, and really have that awareness of what's occurring across your entire organization so that you can accelerate those business decisions, have the proper workflows, start to move the right data sets in the cloud environments. This is part of the new Commvault in which we're giving that sort of data awareness, and of course the ability to have insights across where your information lives, whether the data is dark data, lost, hidden, etc. Just making sure that you know what's out there, what your data landscape looks like, and how you should then act. Beyond that, then, we're providing the data agility that customers are looking for. So first and foremost, the recovery readiness is probably one of the biggest aspects of trying to meet some of the ransomware challenges across the globe today. Making sure that every data set is recovery ready, whether it's on premises, to a DR location, and even into the cloud. In fact, in most cases, in the way that we're putting together our solutions for customers, we're helping them truly optimize the environments in the cloud spaces, so that as we store information in the cloud, getting prepped for that DR scenario that will go to a cloud resource, we're not forcing cloud compute to be running in order for that data to be stored. And more importantly, we're keeping incredibly efficient by keeping the deduplication native across cloud storage, things we're doing on premises at a DR location. All of that is completely optimized to drive a truly recovery-ready solution. And then, of course, some of the things that you're going to see here, and we'll talk about this within our portfolio, is the sort of on-demand recovery to meet any SLA in the cloud or on premises, and ensuring that we're leveraging the right compute when it's necessary. Basically, the ability to truly scale at a cloud level so that we can leverage the right compute, the right storage at the point in time that you need it, whether that's for a 5-minute SLA or less, or something that we're working to try to drive over 24, 48 hours, or best case, depending upon your disaster recovery scenario. or something that just happens on a periodic basis to drive smarter dev and test or DevOps capabilities. All of this is built into our data agility and being able to transform or refactor information that might have come from on premises directly into a cloud infrastructure. And of course, we're always verifying this readiness, helping to make sure that you're meeting your SLAs and keeping all this information portable without any specific lock-in. And of course, this is all being driven through vast amounts of data automation. You're going to see this through some things that Rahul is going to provide from a disaster recovery scenario here just in a moment or two. But whether it's working through data automation and moving workloads from one location to the next, from cloud to cloud, from on-premises hypervisor to cloud, changing the way the actual applications are running, we give the level of automation that our customers require, and then also provide it back to your operators. What you're seeing here actually is a example of how we're taking the APIs of ServiceNow and integrating it together with the Commvault APIs and our own capabilities of managing our information and providing true native API integration into these types of workflow tools to make sure that managing this environment for a help desk, for an operating crew, is as simplified as possible, reducing the number of tools or interfaces that you, the customer, might actually have to manage through. It makes managing through the day-to-day operations of ensuring people's data is recovered, ensuring that they have what they need when they need it, without necessarily needing to give them access to the entire full-blown solution. It's this type of API integration and the API-first integration that we're driving into a number of solutions that allows us to really showcase this level of automation and really defining what the new Commvault is when it comes to simplicity. So the last thing I'll leave you with, because this is going to frame up how sort of the rest of the couple hours is going to play out, is what our intelligent data management portfolio is. So I think everyone knows us for Commvault for backup and recovery. And of course, I know probably many of our customers that might be watching, you're probably a Commvault Complete Data Protection customer in which you're using backup and recovery and you have some forms of disaster recovery as well. As you can see, we've begun to expand out our portfolio for specific needs that you, the customer, might have. Obviously, meeting that recovery readiness, Commvault Backup and Recovery, we have explicit tie-ins to the broadest ecosystem of applications, hypervisors, infrastructures, cloud applications in the industry. And it's been validated over and over by many industry influencers and analysts. And we've also moved forward to deliver a specific disaster recovery solution, one that can make it easy to drive that automation and portability into the cloud or to another location. And actually, this will probably be something that you'll hear from Rahul explicitly and even see a great demonstration of how simplified this truly is. And of course, beyond that, we've continued to deliver a number of data insight applications, something coming from our Activate portfolio, from file storage optimization, the way you can provide data governance, both of the information that Commvault protects and the data that lives in your actual production environment, and also providing that same level of eDiscovery and compliance across those data sets as well. And then, of course, we have some of our newer solutions, our new Hyperscale X, which is our Commvault appliance and reference architecture solution for which you have converged Commvault Backup and Recovery together with scale-out infrastructure. Scale-out infrastructure that runs off of a file system that we have developed, that we also acquired just over a year ago in Hedvig, and have integrated in together into this one infrastructure solution. We also have our software-defined storage capabilities within Hedvig with multi-protocol storage, something that also has some really interesting tie-ins to the Kubernetes world. And of course, the really new and interesting direction that we're taking data management and data protection with our SaaS offering, Metallic, something that you're going to be really excited to hear about from Janet and David Noah and team on how Metallic is truly transforming the idea of data management and data protection, not only with the cloud, but what it means in delivering outcomes for you as a customer. So this truly is a new era for Commvault. Intelligent data management is here with Commvault. It's helping you solve some of those many challenges that you're facing from these seismic shifts, and will probably help put you on the right path to managing this information as you go forward.